Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? My name is Blitzwing, and today we're going to be discussing another episode for, of course, TMNT 2012 Nickelodeon series. Of course, this was an episode that actually aired, I believe, in 2013. Yep. So, technically, I guess it's TMNT 2013, but we call it 2012 because that is, of course, when the show began. So, a lot of people ask me, by the way, when they come on this review, they say, "Oh, this is not the episode. You lie." Well, first of all, in the title, it says review. Second of all, in the description box below, if you guys ever read it instead of just right away posting hate, there's a link to Nickelodeon's website, and when you go to the website, there's in their video options, there's an option that says full episodes. You click on that, and there are full episodes there. Guess what? So there you go. So yeah, stop telling me that I didn't give you a link. So there you go. And today we're going to be discussing episode number 13, I Monster. And it's a pretty gosh darn cool episode as well. So of course, carrying on from last week's episode, which had a lot of kind of almost horror movie themes, this one has the same type of themes going throughout. So basically, this is the return of course, Victor Falco, or Dr. Victor Falco, who we have seen before. I believe it was in episode 7? Monkey Brains, was it? I think so, yeah. Was it episode 7, though? It might have been episode 8. I'm pretty sure it was 7, though. But it's his return, and we see that at the beginning of the episode, he's trying to now figure out how to get revenge on the turtles. He's locked down in this cave system, also kind of in the sewers, but an experiment goes wrong, and basically what happens is there's an electrical surge that blows up the entire chemical lab, and he turns into a rat. So he becomes a rat king. That's what he proclaims himself to be, and it's a very, very cool design. I really love the idea of kind of how he patches up his eyes oftentimes, and how he now, I guess he cannot see by himself because now he can telepathically control rats, but on top of that, he can use their eyeballs to look at the city and such. So I really love that concept. I think it's a very, very cool design and a cool character idea, but basically the episode revolves around him trying to get revenge. So he realized that he has telepathic powers over rats, and he starts to send floods and floods of rats. By the way, I don't know if the statistic was correct, but there's 36 million rats in New York City, which is insane. That is absolutely unbelievable. But he sends giant hordes of rats to swarm the city and cause a lot of mischief. They go into restaurants and attack people and just go crazy. So it's pretty chaotic within the city. And basically, of course, there's also one rat that is very close to our teenage friends, and that is, of course, Master Splinter, who throughout this entire episode has to battle with the Rat King for kind of control over his own body and over his own thought process. Because the Rat King basically tries to get, obviously, Splinter under his control, and to use Splinter as both kind of a bodyguard and also an attacker for and against the turtle to get revenge and things like that. So it's very cool. And before we get to that, basically, early on, they noticed, the turtles noticed that something's going on with Splinter, but they realize, and Splinter basically tells them that it's Dr. Falco. He's come back, and now he's trying to control him. And the turtles are like, okay, well, this is a problematic situation. And they actually go off to rescue April. And because April calls them, and there's a couple of really cool jokes there. Michelangelo keeps saying rats. So and Raphael is, of course, very, very pissed off at that. So basically, while they're rescuing April, the Rat King tries to take control over Splinter again, and this time he's a little bit more successful, because actually at the beginning of the episode, I forgot to mention this because this was another very important theme, was the idea of kind of Splinter passing up and passing on all his knowledge, and basically they have kind of a setup. The turtles set up an attack on Splinter, and actually Leonardo ends up being successful at hitting Splinter, and everyone's amazed, and to the point that Leonardo's like, after he hits him, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then Splinter takes him down and shows him basically, hey, you shouldn't have hesitated there. But I really kind of found that to be cool, almost kind of a passing of the torch moment there, that finally one of the turtles was successful. Considering last episode we saw how much more powerful Splinter is, on this episode we see how teamwork and stuff like that works to the advantage of the turtles, and how they're starting to figure out ways to even defeat their master. That being said, that will definitely come to a different conclusion at the end of the episode, but at this particular moment, after Leonardo lands the blow, Splinter goes back into his room there, and Michelangelo, you could hear him even say something along the lines of like, maybe there'll be a point where we're not even going to need to be trained by Splinter anymore because we're going to be more advanced than him. And you could kind of see that moment of Splinter kind of almost being upset a little, kind of, you know, oh, they might have, they're starting to think that they've passed me and things like that. And it is actually this which the Rat King uses to really start to crack kind of a Splinter and to say kind of that you're no longer needed in this family. You belong to the Rat family and you belong to us. And it is that finally kind of ends up pushing Splinter over the edge. So basically, once the turtle come back with April O'Neil, the turtles come back with April O'Neil after saving her, they come down back to the sewers and they leave basically after realizing, after Splinter says, I know where he's hiding, and he told them. So all 4 turtles head off to go ahead and find Falco and stop him, of course, from trying to capture Splinter. But as they're going away, April stays with Splinter. So oddly enough, it is at that moment, while they're en route to get to the Rat King, that Splinter loses control, and that it's that one brief moment where he kind of thinks, hey, maybe I am not needed, and right there and then, that's when the Rat King is able to capture his mind and now control him as well. So that was definitely cool, and kind of showed you how even a slightest doubt in Splinter's mind, even though he was able to fight off the Rat King for all that time throughout majority of the episode, probably 3/4 throughout the episode, he was able to fight him off. But that moment when he started to show a little bit of doubt, that's when the Rat King took over and then was able to manipulate Splinter in any way he wants. Speaking of which, once the turtles arrive at the Rat King's lair, by the way, Michelangelo absolutely hates the fact that the Rat King has named himself the Rat King, and he's very, very frustrated about that. In fact, he goes off on a little rant where he's like, we could have called him the Verminator or the Ratzilla, which, by the way, Ratzilla is a pretty awesome name indeed. So it was very cool there, kind of to see a nice little comedy throughout the episode as well. So again, great balance here. I think that I would have liked a little bit more comedy. I think that the last episode really struck that well in terms of funniness versus seriousness. This episode took a little bit more of a serious approach, but again, it was very, very enjoyable in that sense as well. But the idea was, once they get there, they realize Splinter is there as well. And now they get to battle. And this time, no holds barred. They really have to take down their master, which was very cool to see, you know. And they realize at that point that all this time, even now that they've gotten a little bit confident about defeating Splinter, Splinter has really been holding back on them, and Splinter has a lot more to teach them that they still do not know. So in fact, he kicks their butt all over the place over and over again, to the point when he has Leonardo pinned down. He's about to strike him down with what is assumed to be the final blow, and as he's about to strike him down, Leonardo shows him the picture of course, himself with his wife and his daughter when he was still human, Splinter, that is. I forgot the name. It was like Musashi? I don't know. I forgot the name. What was his name when he wasn't Splinter? Damn! I'm so embarrassed right now. Well, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. So he shows him that image, and that kind of helps. It kind of clears him up. But then the Rat King takes off the eye patches that he has, like the bandages, which is very cool. It's a really kind of menacing moment, and he takes that off, and then he's like, no, you will obey me. And then you see that Splinter's just about to strike down when the turtles pin him down again, and then they're like, no, you come on, you gotta wake up, you're needed, and blah blah blah. And then again, he beats them all down, and again, he's got Leonardo pinned down for another final blow. And this time, before he strikes, you could see him close his eyes, and he says, I am needed, and then he says, by my sons. So you could see that he kind of defeats it with, of course, the assistance of his quote-unquote sons in the Turtles. But it was a very cool kind of moment to see. Again, it was almost like a character focus a little bit on Splinter, showing how powerful he is in the mind, but at the same time, that he's not only this amazingly prestigious master, but at the same time, he really does care for family, and this is the only family he has left. And that when he really does begin to doubt his place in this family is when things can go wrong, you know. And I think in this episode, it's kind of a two-way street where the turtles realize how much they really need Splinter more than just as a trainer and such. And then he realizes that he needs the turtles because that's all he has left. And he needs to continue believing in them and etc. So then Splinter strikes the Rat King with like almost like a 2-inch punch type thing with a double kind of poke. It was very cool, very martial artsy. And after that, the Rat King is able to get away. And we cut back to the sewers, and in the sewers now, Leonardo is trying to give Splinter a little bit of a pep talk, saying, well, you held back, so you did the exact same thing as me. And then he tries to strike Splinter, and Splinter shows him some crazy moves, and he's like, well, you know, everything you guys know right now, I've taught you, but that doesn't mean that I've taught you everything I know. So there's a very cool moment kind of showing that as a team, yes, the Turtles have come a long way. 13 episodes into this series, they definitely have come a long way. They've gotten better, and they have been able to even, you know, tag Splinter. So, but everything they've learned to this point, individually, they can still not stand up to Splinter, which I really found to be cool, and very much looking forward to see what happens on the next episode of Ninja Turtles. But that being said, if I had to give this episode a rating, I'd probably give it a solid 8.2 or so, 82% or so, just because it wasn't quite in the upper echelon of episodes, but at the same time, it was a great episode. I really loved the design on the Rat King, and there were a lot of cool little moments throughout the entire thing, especially kind of the memes going on with Michelangelo constantly being upset with the fact that he called himself the Rat King and didn't let Michelangelo the chance to name him, so I really enjoyed that as well. But overall, fun episode again. Please hit that like button if you guys enjoyed this review. On top of that, make sure to favorite the video, share the video with your family and friends so that they can provide their opinion in the comment section below about this particular episode of the Ninja Turtles, as well as you guys go ahead and voice your opinion on the Ninja Turtles in the comment section as well. Thanks for watching this episode of another TMNT review. On the next episode, we will be taking a look at episode number 14, New Girl in Town. So make sure to tune in for that. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out and see ya laters.